Okay, well look, I think I've been asked about Ironman. Look, I believe that all of my claims have been within entitlement, and let's not forget that Port Macquarie was a marginal seat, effectively, and I want to assure you that I don't go to marginal seats simply for sporting events. Although the sporting event in question was a community event, I think you'll find that there were quite a few other community events involved in those visits. Now, on the question of polypedal, I'm not sure whether anyone here has been on a polypedal with me. Certainly there are quite a few journalists who normally do accompany me on polypedal, and as anyone, Tim Sweeney, thank you Tim for volunteering. Look, polypedal is a very intense engagement with the community. I mean, the great thing about polypedal is that it takes me to towns and communities, sometimes hamlets, that very rarely see a politician. I suspect that most of the places that I visited on this year's polypedal would not have seen a politician other than their local member in decades, let alone a leader of the opposition. I will do polypedal next year as Prime Minister. I'm looking forward to it very much. It is a perfectly legitimate thing for a Member of Parliament to do, and yes, to the extent that it involves being away from home, I'll claim travel allowance.
It's not true though that Brendan Andrews was on that polypedal with you on a number of occasions and hasn't claimed. So is it possible that you've been cavalier with your travel expenses?
No, it's not. It's absolutely not possible. Look, every Member of Parliament makes a judgment excuse me, about his own role in these events, and I lead the polypedal. I attend numerous community events as part of the polypedal. Not all of my colleagues do. Not all of my colleagues do. Now, sometimes they do, but they certainly don't always, and Kevin may well have made a judgment that he was insufficiently involved in the community events associated not to claim. As I said, I invite every one of you to go back to look at the program for this polypedal, previous polypedals, and ask yourself the question, is this a frolic or is this a very serious act of community engagement? And I think you'd have to conclude, if you're fair income, that this is a very serious act of community engagement.
Pursued Peter Slipper very vigorously on the issue of misuse of taxpayer funds. It's a bit hypocritical that you use taxpayer funds yourself to attend his wedding.
Well, again, I was in Queensland for Concilium. Some of you may actually have been to Concilium in one or other capacity. It's an important annual event. I have been to quite a number of Concilium events. Usually I make a speech at Concilium, and so I attended his wedding on the way back from Concilium. Now, when attendance at weddings became an issue, I looked again, and the TA associated with the Slipper wedding, as opposed to the trip to Concilium, I thought to avoid doubt, I should repay, and I've done that. Now I'll take one more question. I'll take one at a time. I'll take one more question on this. Okay, Alex.
Well, given that you have paid that money back, surely you can see that this area needs to be reformed. You support the Greens call for an integrity.
Fair question, Alex. Very fair question. Look, whenever entitlements become an issue, there are calls for change. It doesn't matter what the rules are, there is always going to be an argument at the margins. The point I make is that people should be careful and cautious when they claim entitlement. If there is any doubt, they should resolve the doubt in favour of the taxpayer, and that's exactly what I've done. Now,